Well, I think this job right here, or this particular log right here, sums up a whole bunch of subjects in one shot. I wish I had my camera going, but oftentimes I don't, and this is one of the times. So when I got into this tree, my intent was, I knew that I had metal in there from, I assumed, taps. So when I first looked at it from afar, I assumed I was going to do my back cut over there, and I was going to do kind of a Humboldt style modified on the front, and then sort this mess out up in the landing. That was the plan. Well, darn. And I got over here looking at the tree, and the first thing I ran into is this. So there goes my Humboldt idea. That wasn't happening. So then I started looking up and down the tree, finding out where the barbed wire had exited, and I found the spot where I thought it was in between barbed wire, and I figured, okay, let me do there. It's about waist high, it's easy. So I got into doing the face cut, instantly hit a lot of metal, ruined the chain completely. Had some botched up face cut there because I went and sharpened it and ruined it again. So I just basically had an open face, but I also had a step about an inch high in the back. You can see it right there, just so it would fold and get going before, you know, it decided to break and tear. Now I recognize at this point, now I've seen barbed wire all the way up in here, so I don't really care about that. But nice log though. Other than the barbed wire, it's a great log. Actually, it has not been tapped. But so anyway, I kind of worked my way through that, and then I figured I was going to try to bore cut, but then the chain was so whooped on my saw, that one right there, that wasn't happening. And so I went and got the small saw and did the old chase routine where I started from over here, started working my way back to the hinge, started moving. I got the heck out of there because there was a bunch of dead branches. So now you see what happens with too much hinge, right? And let me see, the face cut was actually pretty open. You can see the face cut, it didn't close. Now on this particular log, it doesn't freaking matter. It really doesn't. But what it does illustrate, a couple things. One, that my maple would break nice and clean if I gave it enough of a chance. You know, if I had a normal hinge, that would have broke off nice and clean with that, oh, I don't know, maybe 60 degree, 45 to 60 degree face cut, not too much of a face cut. Because it was about like this when it actually broke, long before the actual face cut closed. And then, so it would have broke clean. But since I had too much hinge, all that back stuff towards the center of the tree decided to kind of hang on for dear life, which it did. And that's where you get your pull. And like I said, it doesn't matter, but it's a graphic demonstration. I've done this before. And now, if you look at that, recognize had I cut to right about there, it would have broke nice and clean. Now, if I had done my bore cut, back cut like I had planned, before I ruined two chains, probably would have been fine in terms of the way the hinge and the pulls were. But since I did the chase routine, the very second it started moving, I got out of there, which left too much of a hinge. You got this. But like I said, it doesn't freaking matter. You know, this would be like a residential type thing where you just wanted to go in a particular direction. And I wanted to knock down those two beech trees, which also shows perfectly messed up hinge will make a pull, right? How do you show better than that? Get your hinge right, it won't. Get your hinge wrong, you get that. Then of course down here I wanted to get this cut before it starts to split. Every time you have like a Y like that, you know, and what I typically do, you probably can't tell, well actually you might, is I bore cut right through it to try to make sure it doesn't split. You know, it doesn't start a split where it would naturally split. I may cut back just a little more, because oftentimes if you have it hit like this and wait, you'll see a split propagate right up that tree. And yeah, you can see the remnants of the bore cut. I went poke right through it first, and then I cut it free second. There's a situation where it don't matter what kind of cut you use. If you can get out of this without ruining a chain, you've done good. And if you can get above the metal, you even have a saw log. Well, I got the one, but I sure didn't get the other. So, chasing a tree. Well, I don't know if it'll work, but I got to pull that stump a little bit. The tractor's way up there. I'm way down here. And let's just give it a little pull. Look at that. That was just a little chain in its snatch block, just to pull it off the stump. And it came off nice. And let me see, there you go, there's another cut. I did a bore cut on this one, but basically the back cut just a little higher than the face cut, and broke nice and clean. It's a maple, it'll do that. It's not like an ash. Different strategy. I'm going to lose probably a foot or so with that, so whether I cut down or cut up, it doesn't really matter on this one. You're going to lose the stump anyway. Although there's, yeah, I'll lose it. Look at, you can see where the center rod is. And so yet again, on a tree like this, I want a short stump in the woods for coming down here in the future. You can see there's trails all over the place in here. You want the short stumps if possible, and then I'm gonna go cut that top loose and then drag this thing up to the land and get it over with. Well, this is one of those days I broke just about everything. Pull start on the 562 came apart like they do because I wasn't using the decomp. And then that 28-inch light bar just wasn't stiff enough. You know, I got a little pinch and started bending on that and tore up the chain. So what I ended up doing is put the 24 from the 562 on the 572 with a full wrap. It's kind of ridiculous. But let's see whether or not we can get this darn log up and out of here without hurting more stuff. I like this remote stuff. All right, I better go up and see what's going on there. And look at this. I found yet another tree that, yeah, I guess I'll go right for it. But it doesn't really matter what I do for a cut on this one, does it? Just as long as it's safe. And since this one's going uphill, definitely going to have a fair amount of high wood on the back cut, so it doesn't bounce back right at me. It may do that anyway, but I'll be out of there, I'm sure, because I'm going to do my standard bore cut, leave a little bit of hinge there. Doesn't really matter where I do it. Back cut and get the heck out of here, let it go and bounce wherever the heck it wants. Alright, that should have done it. Got it up to here. Let's get that snatch block out of there and pull it up to the tractor, I think, and go. Well, been looking up here, I'm not seeing any widowmakers. I think it's got the right lean. Yeah, there's some dead branches, so I will want to get out of there. I want to see if I can drop it in there, so I'm going to take out some of that beech, that nasty stuff, just put them on the ground. I want to clear cut a lot of that anyway, so that's no loss getting rid of it. I think I'm going to use this saw for most of this. I just want to see how much I can get out of a tank of fuel for this one. And I might have to hit this one from both sides, but I think it's alright. The root flare on this is pretty nasty, so I don't really care whether I use a conventional or a Humboldt. It won't matter. Just simply because it's not good material down there anyway. Boy, it's nice to have a good pull start. Look at that. You can actually pull on it now. But you see, that's what I did there, is I would get impatient and not hit the decop. Well, there's not a lot of log in it, but there's some, and they got a... Oh boy. Yeah, let me cut the log out of it and see if I can keep that from hitting me in the head. Might get an 8-footer out of this one. Let me see. See, I could have got another 6-8 inches on it if I cut lower into the stump. I just thought it was compromised because it was in the roots. Turns out it wasn't. All right, we got a 10-footer out of this one. All right. Yeah, get another 10-footer out of those. Nice clean break though, right? So that's the thing with the maples when they're like this. See, I figured all that stuff down there was junk, but I could have probably cut it all the way down to here and got another little bit out of that one, right? But the point I wanted to make with this is a little bit of high wood, and that's about as much hinge as I need to make it break nice and clean. So that's a half a tree. I will take one of these so I can get a whole tree out of this mess. And I'm going to take that one right there, which is also a half a tree. So between the two of them, I got a whole tree. half a tree right there. Although I might get a little bit of a saw log out of one of those. There's one up there about 10 inches, pretty straight. Alright, now for the lazy stuff. As I was moving the tractor from here to up here, I just hooked the cable onto a chain and then stretched it right out so I don't have to go back and forth walking. But now I got to unhook it. I think I'm just going to leave the chain right on the tree, see if I can cut right around it. Drop it and then hook it on and go. Tractor's running, I've got the remote. Might be able to save myself a couple of minutes of walking. So just put this right here and see if we can't make this all happen. Alright. So let's see if lazy man tactics save me any time. Yeah, it seems like it's working pretty good. And all I gotta do is walk up and put the saw in the bucket, get up in the driver's seat, and drag this log to the landing. I'll tell you what, the remote really makes a difference to this thing.